What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. So today I just want to go over some healing with the Preservation Evoker. So I get a lot of questions on how to best utilize the cooldowns, what's the basic rotation, little tips and tricks to excel at Evoker. And I'm going to show you guys all that today. So let's get right into it. I'm going to go over, first off, going to go over like some of the abilities really quick, and then the cooldowns. I'm not going to go super basic. I want this to be useful to most people. I'm sure if you're playing Evoker, you probably understand it a good bit already. I do have an additional guide if you want to check out that more in depth, but just briefly go over the rotation, then go over the cooldown usage, and then lastly some tips, and I'm going to commentate over a game really quick. All right, so just to get into it, basic rotation, okay? So the abilities that we're going to be using, reversion's obviously your basic hot, okay? Echo is your bread and butter of the spec. Okay, generally it's going to be echoing before everything. If it's possible, you echo before everything. All right, so when it comes to, and usually the typical order is going to be reversion, verdant embrace, dream breath. Okay, that's the typical sustained, consistent healing, rotation that you're going to go through. Okay, so like this is my enemy here. I'll reversion him, echo, then reversion. Let's say he's, we're chilling, nothing, he's taking, now he starts taking a little more damage. I'm going to echo again. I'm going to verdant embrace. Okay, he's taking more damage. Echo again, and then the next one's going to be dream breath. The reason you always want to do dream breath after verdant embrace, this was a hard habit for me to gain, is this talent called Call Ysera that gives you 40% additional healing on your dream breaths after you verdant embrace. Okay. Side note, when it comes to consistent healing as well, take note of your temporal compressions if you are playing Spark of Insight, which I personally recommend. I utilize this. I'm getting so much better at it, and it's just, you're getting so many more echoes and essence breaks, which are going to allow you to get more healing out via echo, or allow you to get those disintegrates in. Because people ask me, like, how do you even get time to do damage and disintegrate? Because if you're properly utilizing Spark of Insight, you're going to get a ton of essence breaks, and you use those essence breaks on disintegrates, and that's going to, one, give you a crap ton of mana, and it could also secure kills. As if you guys have watched my stream or videos, I definitely do so with disintegrate. It's amazing. Okay, so just on that side note one more time. So I'm echoing, reversions. Okay, I'll go echo again. I'm taking a little more damage. I go for verdant embrace. Really try to work on getting in that habit of verdant embracing before your dream breath. Okay, that was a really hard thing for me to do, but it's a massive 40% buff. Okay, and then if you do that rotation right, you're going to get an essence burst every time you go through that rotation. Okay, and then after that, let's say you're going back to your basic rotation, keeping up your reversions, your dream breath. They're still taking more damage. Okay, what's the next option? Spirit Bloom. Okay, if I ever have time, I do want to throw these up if you are playing Empath, which I currently do, just for the extra essence regen, which helps you get more echoes and just keeps the consistent healing rolling. But that's kind of like your big heal. When it comes to Spirit Bloom, make sure that if you have time, hold the whole thing. There is no difference between the healing, like the mana or anything cooldown, nothing matters except for the amount of targets it hits. So if you have time, hold that the entire duration if you need to heal multiple targets, that is, because it's just free healing if you just hold it a little bit longer. But a lot of times you might only need single target healing, so you'll just pop it on one target, right? So if I hold it down as max time, it's going to hit more targets and it's going to do a lot more healing. Quick little tip with Spirit Bloom, okay? This is a little trick you can do with it. Is you can echo, especially at least if you're in range. You can kind of do this. You can do this with Living Flame as well, but not as useful. But you can actually, if you pre-echo a target, then you Spirit Bloom, let go of the Spirit Bloom, and you have to have a good amount of haste for this to work. I don't know the exact number, but I feel like if you have no haste at all, you're probably not going to be able to do this. You might be able to. I don't know. Anyway, so you pre-echo the target. Okay, make sure you have enough, obviously, because this happens all the time in my games. Like they need a substantially big heal. I will Spirit Bloom and then immediately press Echo again. So she shoots out 3 times. So now you're getting you're double echoing that Spirit Bloom. That can create a massive heal, and it's really useful, especially in solo shuffle when dampening gets high. You just need so much single target healing. I do that all the time. Just you got to be far enough away. If I am close, I'll still try and just spam it. Worst comes to worst, they have another echo on them and I could just reversion it or whatever it may be. So that's going to be your basic rotation when it comes to just consistent healing. Again, reversions, keep up the reversions because of Grace Period. Grace Period gives you 20% healing if you have 2 on your target. Okay, then you're using Verdant Embrace because it's a big chunky heal, medium cooldown, but also Verdant Embrace so that you can get that Call of Ysera. Okay, also a side note with Verdant Embrace, utilizing Lifebind as much as possible. Okay, Lifebind is going to share that healing. So if you can pre-Verdant Embrace like pre-Verdant Embrace any big heals. So if you Verdant Embrace and then Spirit Bloom, you could really chunk the entire group and heal everybody up. You could Verdant Embrace, get Lifebind out, and then Emerald Communion, and that Emerald Communion is going to start splitting. Okay, so for example, I echo this guy. Let's say I echo, these guys are Alliance, hold on. Echo this guy, and let's say I Verdant Embrace this guy. Okay, so now I have Lifebind spread. I do 1 Life Bloom. No, I guess I must have fell off on these guys, or whatever. Anyway, you could spread that lifeblood, and then, or sorry, what's it called? Lifeblood, Lifebind, and that reversion healing is going to split. And there's a lot of games where I actually have Lifebind as my top heal, and if you do get the uses of it, you're going to see some pretty good results on it. I think there was one on here I had. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was a different series. Anyway, there are games where I do get it as my top heal. Okay, let's go over the cooldowns. Your big cooldowns that you're going to have to be worrying about: Time Dilation, Cauterizing Flame, Dream Projection, Obsidian Scales, Renewing Blaze, Tip the Scales, and Emerald Communion. I think that's all of them, right? And Rescue. All right, so when it comes to your personal ones, Obsidian Scales, Renewing Blaze, you don't have to overlap them. Sometimes I feel like in most cases, I feel like I just need to do both. And they both have the same cooldown. If you run, I don't run double charge wall, so I kind of just used to do both at the same time. If you are running double charge wall, you probably don't need to use both at the same time. You could probably go with just using 1, and then if you need a lot, you do it 2. You go for 2. But typically, I only use 1. Kind of just self-explanatory. When you get in trouble, try to pre-wall stuns, things like that. Time Dilation, I am not super scared to use this. I use this all the time. It's just going to slow down the damage, allow you allow yourself more time to heal, or your teammate give more time so that they can pop their defensives out of a stun or a CC. Basically, think of it like an Iron Bark. Use it all the time when you see damage. You see someone pop Avatar, even if the target's at 100% health, pop that Time Dilation, slow everything down, give yourself more time to recover. Another trick you can do with Time Dilation, this goes with actually your Renewing Blaze in your wall as well. When you Dream Project, and let's say you're dispelling UAs, you can pre-time dilate yourself, dispel 3 UAs, and you're going to be fine. Especially if you use all 3 of these together, you might have to panic depending on how low your health is. I try not to do 3, but 2 you'll definitely survive. 3 might be hit or miss depending on your health, but you can pre-time dilate, that kind of stuff. Cauterizing Flame, 60-second cooldown. Make sure you're using this even outside of bleeds. Okay, there's a lot of classes that have this. Also works on diseases as well, right? Yeah, diseases as well, and it's a 40k heal. Okay, so there's sometimes scenarios where I don't have Dream Breath, I don't have Spirit Bloom, I don't have Verdant Embrace, I don't have like anything instant. All I have is reversions. Even if my mirror reversions are out, you could actually opt to use a Cauterizing Flame as long as there is a bleed, poison, curse, or disease. Could be any of those. So like a DK, you can easily just pop it to get a nice little quick heal off of a DK. But then obviously really important to use it for Feral Frenzy and Deathmark. Versus Acid Rose, Deathmark's a 2-minute cooldown. This is a 1-minute cooldown. Track Deathmark, get a second one in before, try to get a second one in before the cast comes again. Get more utilization out of it. It might help you save yourself some healing later on. Maybe like on that, because kidneys every, 30 seconds or so. So, they Deathmark kidney, you use your Cauterizing Flame, they kidney again, you use your Cauterizing Flame, they kidney again, and then you have it ready for the next Deathmark. Dream Projection. Dream Projection is something I use very early, often, and is an amazing heal. It's very often going to be one of your top heals, and it's going to save your ass all the time. Okay, Dream Projection, one thing I see people mess up with. Okay, for one, don't use it too late. It's not an instant heal. It's a 20-second hot that is massive. Very, very strong hot. And, the second damage starts coming in, that's when I'm popping it immediately. Okay, I'm getting that off, and then getting those heals up on the targets before the damage comes in. Like, you see DK starts popping Remorseless Winter, or A-Bomb comes out, or, Avatar, Spear. Even if you're at 100%, pop that early, get that hot rolling, and then start doing all your other stuff. Also using it for Dispels, okay? Especially for Shadow Priest, super common class right now, or spec. Try to get your teammates grouped up, find an opportunity to get a triple Dispel. Obviously be a little more careful on UAs like I mentioned before, but you could also do it through UA. Don't be scared to use it. Just pre-heal out yourself. You can, pre-Renewing Blaze or pre-wall yourself, pre-time dilate, just give yourself a little time. Worst comes to worst, you can do it on yourself, silence yourself, and then Emerald Communion out of that. If emergency case scenario, because you can Emerald Communion that silence. But yeah, and then last but not least here, we have Tip the Scales. Honestly, Tip the Scales, you could be used as a defensive cooldown. I almost use it always offensively, because I've always found it, some Tip the Scales, Spirit Blooms almost never are like gonna save me a lot. I don't know why they almost never do. If there's really niche situations, I definitely will opt to use it. I think Dream Breath is probably gonna be a better option than the Spirit Bloom when it comes to using Tip to Scales, but I almost always use it offensively because the impact of that is usually way greater than using it defensively, in my opinion. Okay, Emerald Communion. Emerald Communion you can use through CC. I almost use this as a second trinket. All right, so I use it. I try to always save it, almost always save it for when I'm in CC. There are cases where it's just too much damage. I need to use it. We will. But I almost always try to save it for when I'm in a stun, I'm in a silence, I'm in a trap. The only time you can't use it is in blind effects, counted by Paladin Blind, Rogue Blind, DK Blind. But you can use it in polys. So blinds and polys, you can't use it. You can use it in everything else. Fears, just be noted if people can fear it. They can DB it. So wait for the fear to go off. I'm going to show you in a clip. Wait for the fear to go off and then pop it, so that you are able to, you won't get it stopped on. So just be really cautious that because once people catch on to that kind of stuff, they're going to be stopping it. 3 minute cooldown completely wasted. Okay, last but not least, Rescue. Really important one. I swear I don't see a lot of people using this well. When you use Rescue, always, expect the situation coming. Sometimes you just need to use it as a shield. Okay, there's also cases where you can use it. I'm not in a group, so I'm not gonna be able to do it. Let's say I'm getting trained. This is my partner over here. Okay, even though I don't want to move him, I could use it to move myself. So if I have no more hovers, I'm out of mobility, I could press hover on this guy and throw it over here. That's just going to put me over there. And it also gives me that little Twin Guardian shield from the talent. So that's a cool way to use it for yourself. And as well as just using, especially if you're versing classes with stuns, be ready for the kidney shots, especially with leg sweep. It's super easy to use on leg sweep. Track leg sweep, 50-second cooldown for most times. Sometimes it's a minute if they're not spec'd into it. Most times it's gonna be 50 seconds. Be in a position that's on a corner of some sort of pillar, so you're able to take them through the wall, if that makes sense. Because, if you just pull them back, you might get gripped, or they might just use a charge or a flying serpent kick, or get right to the target. If you're able to pull them through walls, it helps you out tremendously. Gives you a lot more time to recover. So I always try to position myself on the corner of some sort of pillar so that I can pull them from one side through the wall and onto the other side of the pillar. Gives you a lot better time to recover on that. So that is all the cooldowns. I think I didn't miss anything. I think that's all. Cool. All right, so that is all the abilities. I just want to give you guys a quick example of this in a solo shuffle game. Okay, so I'm just going to break down a quick commentary of what's going on in this game. This is a 2400 lobby. A lot of damage in this round, so that's why I wanted to show you guys it, and both offensive and defensive potentials. Okay, so we're starting off the game. We echo all the targets. We go for the reversions. I have my temporal compression already ready to go. I have to just go for the root onto the warlock pet just to... Honestly, I didn't need to use it. Not going to try to rationalize it. Okay, so at this point, I ended up just going for a Verdant Embrace just to give myself a call Ysera, because I really want to get rid of this temporal compression. So I ended up just going for that. Even though it was a wasted Verdant Embrace, I got the massive Dream Breath off. Just a pre-hot. For some reason, this DH runs in like this. Take advantage of opportunities to play offensive as Evoker. It is one of your biggest strengths compared to other healers, especially in solo shuffle when you cannot count on your teammates all the time. Take matters in your own hand. Kill him yourself. So he ends up pushing in there. I go for a Living Flame into an NS Fire Breath, into a knockback, I was going to go Disintegrate too, but he ends up Nether Walking. So force back out here, push out. Shaman pops Healing Tide, going to knock that down. So at this point, now we're going to be on the defensive. We did our offensive push. Shaman roots me. I'm going to use that Deep Breath to get out of it. Those roots are killer for Evokers, man. It really sucks. I ended up just using Deep Breath just to get behind the pillar and back to my teammates here. I wasn't even using that offensively. Okay, so at this point, we're getting up our Echoes, getting up our Aversions. Get a pre-Dream Project, okay? Just like I said, you want to Dream Project before damage comes in so that you have that hot rolling, and always try to opt to get it in situations where you have 3 targets, okay? All right, so I Verdant Embrace. I'm going to go for a little more offensive pressure. I want to get rid of my, I had that AoE Living Flame thing. And we're just going to go for Disintegrate. Okay, at this point, he hunts. We're going to pop my Spirit Bloom. And I did that little trick that I mentioned to you guys right there with the Spirit Bloom Echo. Okay, so you'll see right here. Okay, so he's pre-echoed. I'm going to Spirit Bloom, and then watch over here. Immediately cast Echo again. Oh, actually, that one might not have got off. But anyway, okay, so... At this point, I got incapped. I knew I need to use something more. I was going to use the Emerald Communion through that, but I noticed that there was a fear under me. Just be patient. Wait for that fear. If a priest is standing on you out of trap, ready to fear you, wait for the fear first, then pop the communion so you don't get get no use out of it. Okay, so Emerald Communion that, so I get stunned, I get feared out. This is just a lot of crap going on. Damage is really pumping up here. at this point. So I'm going to pull him out and go for the Verdant Embrace. Time dilation, rewind all the damage. Okay, I get rooted here. Just keep trying to pump the heals. Echo Reversion. Damage is really getting tough here. I'm forced to use, I used rewind out. I'm going to double hover out of there, go for a Spirit Bomb really low, throw an Echo in right after. At this point, I'm going to end up just using more Renewing Blaze and Echo on, or Obsidian Scales on myself. And then I end up Verdant Embracing to give myself a Life Bind to share those heals a little bit more. Okay, at this point, just going to continue to go over those Echoes, Dream Breaths, end up reshrouding myself, go for a Fear. This game was just so fast-paced. Echo again, go for the Reversion, Echo again. And at this point, I don't really have any other hots, just going to wait for this. I got a Verdant Embrace off. Go for a Fire Breath here, a little offensive pressure, throw another Echo in, root the targets. Echo Reversion, really running out of hots here at this point. Go for a Spirit Bloom, he gets a Healing Tide off. Gonna try to kill the Healing Tide. I knock it down, we have a lot of pressure. Echo Reversion again, Echo again, Verdant Embrace. And this way we have the Light Bind shared, going a little bit of offensive pressure here in between those cooldowns going. Okay, Echo again, Time Dilation. A lot of just rinse and repeat, right? Echo Reversion, I get Dream Projection up, I go for that Dream Projection, I get feared, we get a nice coil onto the guy and he goes down. So that was a very, probably should have picked a slower paced game, but that was a very fast paced game nonetheless. But hopefully you guys get the gist of it. Probably gonna have to rewatch that if you're new to Evoker, just to give you guys a sense of it. But there's a little breakdown of it all. Thank you guys so much for watching this. If you guys have any questions, feel free to let a comment down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.